Hi y'all. Today we're going to be going over linear algebra for our FE exam here today. Um, so really whenever we're dealing with linear algebra, we're going to be dealing with kinds of algebra using matrices as well as determinants and inversions of matrices itself, and then solving equations like a system of equations using the matrices. So I guess what we can do here is start on this question is compute the product. So you'll have to know how to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division of certain square matrices. For this, you have to do row times column. So 2 times 4, or not 2 times 4, 2 times 5 plus 4 times -1. So what we're going to get is we'll get a new matrix, which is going to be a 2 by 2 matrix times a 2 by 2 matrix. And what this is going to be equal to is a 2 by 2 matrix. When you do multiplication of matrices, let's say you have a 3 by 2 matrix. If it says multiply, you have to make sure this number is the same as this number, so you have to have a 2 here. And if this is some like 4 matrix, then what you're going to get is you're going to get, actually this needs to be a 3. If this was a 3, what you're going to get now is a 3 by 3 matrix. If this was a 4, you would end up getting a 3 by 4 matrix. All right, so what you're going to do here first is you're going to multiply 2 times 5 and add 4 times -1. So you're going to do 2 times 5 plus 4 times -1. So you go row times column. Okay. Then the next number in the top right, because remember now we have a 2 by 2 matrix, we have to have the next value in the row is going to be 2 and 4 and 0 and 2. So you do 2 times 0 plus 4 times 2. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the second row. So you do 1 times 5 plus 3 times -1. And the next one is 1 times 0 plus 3 times 2. So the resulting matrix is going to end up being 2 times 5 is 10, minus 4 is 6. So you have 6. Then you have 4 times 2, which is 8. 5 minus 3, 2, and 6 here. So this will be the resulting matrix. Next, we have to solve for the determinant. And what I like to do here is use this sort of trick to solve for determinant. Now, this works for 3 square matrices, where you have a 3 by 3, elementary matrix. It would work for 2 by 2 matrices, but there's a specific formula you can use. To find the determinant here, what we're going to do is we're going to now copy the first and second column. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add this. We're going to multiply, which is 1 times -1 times 5. Then we're going to add the next ones. We're going to add these. 0 times 3 times 4 plus 2 times 2 times 0. All right, so now what we're going to get is we're going to get 1 times -1 is -1 times 5 is 5. Plus, we have a 0 here plus 0. We have a 0 here plus 0. So the determinant of this is going to be 5. Now, we have to be careful because we're not only doing the front half. So sorry if I said that was the determinant. That's not really the determinant. What we're going to get here is now we have to do this, this, and this here. We have to do it backwards. And now what we're going to get is we're going to get a minus all the rest. So it's going to be 0 times 2 times 5 in the blue, by the way. So 0 times 2 times 5, well, that becomes 0 plus, and remember I do a minus, everything that's going from right to left will be subtracting, everything that goes from left to right will be addition. So everything in green is going to be addition, everything in blue will be subtraction. Okay, so what we get is we get 5 minus, that becomes 0, this becomes 0, and this becomes what? 2 times 4 is 8, times -1 is -8. So we have 5 minus -8, and that is equal to 13. So the determinant will be 13. Okay, another way you can do this is if you do sort of, what's it called? Like the dot product, the dot cross product method, where you can cover the first row and you go 0 times, or no, sorry, not 0, 1, 1 times -1 times 5. I believe it's minus. I haven't done this method in a while, so I won't say what this is because I'm not entirely sure. It's been a little bit, but this is how you would do the second one. Now for the third one here, what we had to do, row echelon form, so not reduced row echelon form, so not RREF, just REF, which means you want to get, or not that triangle, this triangle here. You want to get this triangle to become all zeros. So what do we do? Well, first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this a little bigger. And now what I want to do is I want to get this number to be 0. How can I do that? Well, what I can do is I can say R3, which will be row 3, is equal to row 3 minus 2 row 1, because R3, which is 2, minus 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 minus 2 is 0. So now what this is going to give us is it's going to say that the first and second row are unaffected, but the third row, so we do 2 minus 2 times 1, 0 minus 2 times 2, and 3 minus 2 times -1. And so now we can write this as 0, this becomes -4, and this one becomes 3 plus 2, which is 5. So we have that one as 0, but now we need to get another one 0. We want to focus on this one next. So then what we're going to do is we're going to say R2 is equal to, well, how can we get that to become 0? What we can do is R2 minus 3R1. Okay, so which rows are not affected? The first row, and now the third row, that becomes unaffected. The second row is what? 3 minus 3 times 1, 4 minus 3 times 2, and 5 minus 3 times -1. Okay, so now this becomes 3 minus 3 is 0, 4 minus 6 is -2, 5 plus 3 is 8. And finally, we want to get this one as 0. So what we do now is R3 is equal to R3. Well, we can just do, minus 2R2 or plus 2R2 or plus 2R1. I'm going to do 2R2. The reason being is because we do not want to affect this one. We don't want to affect the third row first column number. If we say something, if we do something like minus, or I guess plus 2R1, what's going to happen to this one here is it's going to be 0 plus 2 times 1. Now it becomes 2. Now that work that we've done at the beginning, it doesn't matter because now we've changed that value. So we have to do it in terms of R2. So what do we do? Well, then what we do is minus 2R2. What this will do is it'll keep R3, the first column for row 3, to be 0. So the first column is unaffected and the second column is unaffected. That's just a positive heat. The third column now we have 0 minus 2 times 0, which is still 0. That's exactly what we need. Then we do minus 4 minus 2 times minus 2, which is negative 4 plus 4, which is 0 also. Then we get 5 minus 2 times 8. 5 minus 16, which is negative 11. So now what we have is our row echelon form, and we're done. If it says, if the answer choices all have ones here, here, and here, what you can do is you can say, okay, divide this one by 11 or minus 11 and divide this one by negative 2. So now if we do this, we have the first row is unaffected. We get 0 because 0 divided by negative 2 is 0. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. Then we get 0, 0, and 1. So now then this can also be, one of these two answers will be coming up on your answer sheet. So hopefully this made sense. If you have any questions, please make sure and ask them. If you don't, make sure to keep watching these videos. I'm going to be trying to get a video out at least once a day to just go over either the FE exam and more of my prep and some of the questions that I'm creating, or I'm going over the content in my classes that I'm taking, and kind of typical questions you might see in their textbooks or problems outside of the class that might be just for my benefit. All right, hopefully this made sense for y'all, and hopefully this was okay. Thank you all.